This next story is unbelievable. Back during the heat of the pandemic, half of the meatpacking houses in the country were closed. Producers had no one to sell to. Things got intense for Iowa pig farmer Jacob Benda, but thanks to social media, he found a way through. John Torpy from our news partner Market to Market picks it up from there.
A little over a year ago, Market to Market visited Iowa hog producer and grain farmer Jacob Benda to learn more about how the global pandemic was impacting his operation. At the time, nearly half of the nation's packing houses were closed, and consumers were looking at a cut in supply. The situation put Benda and his father Brad directly in front of some tough decisions.
That awful realization of if you had to actually euthanize pigs to, get to be able to take that next group of babies coming in, or you would try and find somewhere to put them for a temporary holding. There's so many different things that you can do, and then ultimately if none of that can be found, then you'd have to euthanize the animal.
Benda had another idea. He turned to social media and began reaching out to potential customers through Facebook Marketplace in a desperate attempt to find buyers for his hogs. And it worked.
It started off with, friends sharing, and then friends of friends shared it, and the friends of the friends of the friends that shared it, and within, I believe, 2 days, it was over a couple thousand shares. If I was able to go through and actually respond to everybody on Facebook, I would have that building, that 1,200 head building, sold over probably twice.
1 year later, Benda says the calls from people wanting to buy pigs directly from him kept coming, even as the packing house bottleneck began to ease.
The traffic as far as requests for people wanting to buy pigs didn't slow down at all. I mean, it picked up quite a bit. I mean, I had to take down that post, because it was just getting blown up out of proportion. I sold all of the pigs that Dad and I kind of predetermined we wanted to let loose, and still had people calling and messaging all the time wanting to know, hey, can we have 4 or 5? We want to buy 10.
Jacob Benda farms roughly 2,700 acres and raises 5,000 head of hogs annually with his dad and uncle on a farm a few miles north of Toledo, Iowa. Benda says farming during the global pandemic is getting better, but he is still adapting his workflow to challenging times.
Things have gotten back to normal, I would say, more normal. It's still a little bit of not a nightmare with scheduling to getting pigs into the processor, but just more of instead of I could call up, 2 weeks before, now I need to be at least a month in advance.
As the Benda operation settled into a new routine, one of the worst storms in the Hawkeye State's history changed everything again. On August 10th, 2020, a straight-line windstorm, or derecho, leveled almost all of Benda's corn crop.
I mean, everything was flat. Basically, it was just flat. We got declared zero on all but about, 10% of our farm, so, just shy of 100 and some acres. And so we combine that, disc the rest all underneath, and talk about a sick feeling in your stomach just disking up corn. I never ever want to do that again.
All of the corn lost in the storm had been slated for feeding the hogs he and his father were raising.
All right, so we got to buy corn now. We don't have, we feed about 50,000 bushels of corn for those pigs per year. And so we didn't have those bushels. So we had to go out on the market and start buying them. Well, we got some bought, not too long after that, when corn was still, $3.90, I think is what it was when we bought. It's like, whew, this is costing us a lot of money now, because pigs were still down low as far as price hadn't moved very much. They were still not worth a whole lot, and then now we're having to put $5 corn into it, $5.50 corn in. So that was rough.
The August storm also destroyed several buildings on the farm, causing the Bendas to scramble to find shelter for their most recent delivery of hogs.
They'd been there about a week. With the whole incident, we lost about 10 from the storm. They had to spend, the night, that first night, in the open, and then the following day we were able to find a open building up in Marshtown and actually get those pigs moved up there.
The storm's impact was felt well into fall, as debris from the hog building added headaches during harvest.
And so when the neighbor was combining that field, he let us know, and a couple of us went and would basically walk in front of the combine while he was combining each pass where that whole, debris field was.
And with all the solutions to the headaches of 2020 now on his resume, Benda is cautiously optimistic about what lies ahead for the 2021 growing season.
Looking back now, seeing where we are at now, where commodity prices are now, and going back 6 months, it just makes a guy wonder even more going forward. Okay, is where we're at now, is it sustainable? Is it going to sustain this way, or are we just building a bubble and a hill to fall back down on? So it just makes a guy think more, and it's one more thing to keep you up at night. So no big deal.
Unbelievable, no big deal. Great story.